Part 1. Asked my best friend to be my best man. Turns out he dated my fiancée. Hey Reddit. I never thought I'd be the guy typing out a novel-length story here, but I've been reading r/relationships and r/asshole long enough to know this is exactly the kind of mess people come here for. So buckle up. I need to unload this somewhere that isn't my group chat, because my group chat is basically just 3 dudes who think everything can be solved with beer and Call of Duty. Some context first. I, 29M, got engaged to my fiancée, Emily, 28F, 6 months ago. We've been dating for about 3 years. I met her at a work event. I was helping set up a charity auction, and she was one of the organizers. She's funny, gorgeous, smart in a way that makes you feel both inspired and slightly dumb at the same time, and she has this way of making everyone in the room feel like they matter. She's also the first person I've ever really imagined building a life with. I've got a best friend, Jake, 30M. We've been friends since high school, the kind of friendship where we've been through everything: bad breakups, dead-end jobs, stupid drunken nights, that time we tried to start a podcast that never got past episode 2, etc. Jake has always been like a brother to me. So naturally, when Emily and I got engaged, Jake was the first person I thought of when it came to being my best man. I didn't even ask him in some clever way. I literally just texted him. Me: dude, you're my best man, right? Jake: obviously. Don't even need to ask. All good, right? That was about 4 months ago. Since then, we've been deep in wedding planning hell. Anyone who says wedding planning is fun is lying to your face. Emily's been stressing about seating charts and whether we need to pay extra for the good linens, and I've just been nodding along pretending I know the difference between ivory and eggshell. Jake's been hanging out with us a lot more too, helping with little things like tasting the menu, brainstorming bachelor party ideas, etc. Which, honestly, was great. I liked having my 2 favorite people in the same room. But then something weird happened. About a month ago, we were all out for drinks after a venue meeting. Jake was joking around, telling some ridiculous story about our high school days, something involving me, a BB gun, and a very angry raccoon. Don't ask. I noticed Emily laughing a little too hard. Like, not just, "Haha, you're funny," but laughing in this kind of knowing way, like she was remembering something. I brushed it off. They'd been around each other enough by now that inside jokes were bound to form. Whatever. But then, a week later, Jake and I were grabbing wings, and he asked this completely out-of-nowhere question. Jake: so, does Emily ever talk about her exes? Me: not really. Why? Jake: no reason. Just curious. That set off a little alarm bell in my head, but again, I brushed it off. Jake's always been kind of nosy, and I figured maybe he was just making conversation. Fast forward to last weekend. I was at Emily's place. We haven't moved in together yet. Long story. Basically, my lease is still running. We were doing boring adult chores, like laundry and grocery shopping, and I noticed she seemed a little distracted. I asked what was up, and she said, "Nothing, just tired." Fine. But later, when she went to shower, her phone buzzed. Normally I wouldn't snoop, but I happened to see the screen light up, and it was a text from Jake. It wasn't flirty or anything. It just said, "We should probably talk before the wedding." Alone. Yeah. I sat there staring at the screen for like 5 minutes. My stomach was doing somersaults. 1,000 thoughts ran through my head. Was he planning something for the bachelor party? Was he worried about his speech? Or was it something else? When Emily came back, I didn't say anything right away. But later that night, I asked her. Me: hey, random question. How well did you know Jake before you met me? Emily: long pause. Not that well. Why? Me. I don't know. Just seems like you guys get along really easily. Emily. Well, he's your best friend. I guess it just rubs off. She smiled, kissed me, and that was that. But the way she paused before answering? That's the kind of thing you don't unhear. Here's where it gets messy. 2 days later, I decided I couldn't take the overthinking anymore. I texted Jake. Hey man, what's up with that message to Emily? Something I should know? He didn't reply for hours. When he finally did, it was short. Yeah, we should talk. In person. So we met up at this crappy little dive bar we've been going to since college. I sat there nursing a beer, trying to keep my hands from shaking, and finally said, Me. All right. What's going on? Jake, deep breath. Look, man. I should have told you this a long time ago. But Emily and I used to date. I swear, the world went silent when he said that. Like actual movie scene silence. Apparently, about 5 years ago, long before I met Emily, he and her dated for a few months. It wasn't super serious, according to him, more like a casual thing that fizzled out. They ended on okay terms, hadn't talked much since, and when he realized I was dating her, he didn't know how to bring it up without making it weird. So he just didn't. He sat there looking guilty, and I just sat there trying to process the fact that my best friend and my fiancée had slept together and decided to tell me now, after I'd already asked him to be my best man. I don't even remember what I said. Something like, Me. You're kidding, right? Please tell me you're ing kidding. Jake. I'm not. And I'm sorry, man. I really am. But it was years ago. It didn't mean anything. I left after that. Didn't even finish my beer. When I got home, I asked Emily point blank. Me. Did you date Jake? Emily, eyes wide, immediate. Oh my God. He told you? Me. So it's true? Emily, sighs. Yes. But it was a long time ago. I didn't want to bring it up because it felt irrelevant, and I was worried it would make things awkward between you two. Awkward? Try catastrophic. Now I'm sitting here 2 months out from my wedding, trying to figure out what the hell to do. I love Emily. I want to marry her. But I can't shake the image of her with Jake, my best man, the guy who's supposed to stand next to me while I say my vows. Like, am I crazy for feeling betrayed? Am I overreacting? I keep telling myself it was years before me, that I shouldn't care. But then I think about all the times they've laughed together, all the little glances I might have missed, and it makes me feel sick. And the worst part? The wedding invitations have already gone out. Everyone knows Jake is the best man. Pulling him out now would raise a million questions. I don't know what to do, Reddit. Do I suck it up and pretend it doesn't bother me? Do I confront Jake more? Do I call off the wedding? I feel like I'm living in some kind of nightmare. And here's the kicker. Before I left the bar, Jake said something that's been echoing in my head ever since. Jake, there's more you should probably know. But then he stopped, said it wasn't the right time, and told me he'd explain later. So now I'm stuck here, losing my mind, wondering what the hell more could possibly mean. TLDR, asked my best friend to be my best man. Just found out he used to date my fiancée. Now he says there's more I need to know, but won't tell me yet. Part 2. My best friend said there's more, and now I wish I hadn't asked. Hey Reddit. So, a bunch of you wanted an update. First off, thanks for all the responses on my last post. I read through a ton of them, everything from "Bro, run," to "This isn't a big deal, calm down," to "Definitely don't marry her until you know everything." Honestly, the range of advice has been wild, but it weirdly helped me feel less like I'm losing my mind. Anyway, here's what happened. The day after I posted, I texted Jake. Me. We need to finish that conversation. What else do I need to know? Jake. In person. Tonight? So we met again. Same dive bar. Same sticky tables. Same knot in my stomach. He looked like crap, hair a mess, eyes bloodshot, like he hadn't slept, which made me even more nervous. I didn't even order a drink this time. Just sat down and said, Me. All right. Tell me everything. No more half-truths. Jake, long pause, rubbing his face. Okay. The thing is, Emily and I didn't just date casually. It wasn't just a couple months. It was more like almost a year. My jaw actually dropped. A year? He made it sound like some short fling before. Now it's a full-on relationship? Me. Why the hell would you lie about that? Jake. Because I didn't want you to hate me. And because it was complicated. We broke up messy. She was the one who ended it. And I guess I never really got closure about it. That word, closure, made my skin crawl. I pressed him. Me. So you're telling me you still have feelings for her? Jake. No. At least, not like that anymore. It's not that simple. I've moved on. But seeing you with her has been hard. And I didn't know how to handle it. I just sat there, trying not to explode. My best friend, the guy I trusted more than anyone, basically admitted he's been low-key struggling with the fact that I'm marrying his ex. When I got home, I confronted Emily again. She admitted it. Yes, she and Jake dated for nearly a year, back when she was fresh out of college. She insisted it wasn't serious, which a year seems pretty damn serious to me, but it was definitely more than the casual thing Jake originally described. She said they weren't compatible, that she realized it pretty quickly, and that's why she ended it. When I asked why she never told me the full story, she said, Emily, because I knew you'd make it into something it's not. And because I didn't want it hanging over us when it didn't matter. But it does matter, doesn't it? At least to me. Here's where things get even worse. Later that week, I get a call from Jake. His voice is shaky. He says we need to meet one more time. I almost told him to screw off, but curiosity and maybe masochism won. So we meet again. This time, he doesn't dance around it. He just blurts out, Jake, we didn't just date. She lived with me. For like 6 months. I swear my chest physically hurt when he said that. All I could picture was Emily in his apartment, leaving her stuff in his drawers, making breakfast in his kitchen. Things that now feel so ours, the little domestic stuff she already did with him. And then he said the words that nearly broke me. Jake, I thought she was the one. Yeah. My best friend once thought my fiancée was the one. After that, I barely remember the rest of the conversation. I think I said something like, You should have told me from the beginning, and then walked out. I couldn't even look at him. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept replaying everything. The way Emily laughed at his stories. The way she seemed too comfortable around him. The way he kept dodging the truth until I dragged it out of him. And here's the thing that really messes with me. I started noticing little moments I'd ignored before. Like how Emily once mentioned this old inside joke about the frozen pizza incident, and when I asked what she meant, she brushed it off. Later, I remembered Jake had laughed at the same phrase once. Or how they both hate the exact same brand of tequila, but I never really thought about why. It's like puzzle pieces falling into place, except the picture they make is one I wish I'd never seen. So the next morning, I sat Emily down. I told her everything Jake said, and I demanded the full, unfiltered truth. She cried. A lot. Said she was scared to lose me, scared I'd think less of her, scared it would ruin what we have. She admitted she should have told me sooner, but she swore up and down that Jake is just her past, that I'm her future. She said, Emily, I love you. You're the man I want to marry. What Jake and I had was nothing compared to what we have now. Please don't throw this away over something that ended years ago. And damn it, part of me believes her. Because I do love her. And I want to marry her. But another part of me feels like I've been living in a lie. Now here's where it gets really insane. 2 nights ago, Jake showed up at my apartment unannounced. He looked wrecked. Like he hadn't eaten or showered in days. He said he couldn't keep it in anymore. And then he told me something that made my stomach drop. Jake, when Emily and I were together, she cheated on me. That's how it ended. She hooked up with someone else, and I found out. That's why we broke up. I just sat there frozen. Because suddenly this whole, we just weren't compatible, story Emily told me didn't line up at all. I asked Jake who it was, but he said he didn't know for sure, just that she admitted to it at the time. So now I'm stuck with this horrible question. If she cheated on him, what's to stop her from cheating on me? I confronted Emily about it last night. She swore Jake was lying, that he's just bitter and trying to sabotage us. She said he was possessive and dramatic when they dated, and that he probably twisted things in his head. She said, Emily, do you really think I'd risk everything we built together for some fling? You know me better than that. And the thing is, I do know her. Or at least, I thought I did. But now every time she says, I love you, I hear Jake's voice in my head saying, there's more you should probably know. So here's where I'm at. My best friend is my ex's ex. He claimed she cheated on him. She claims he's lying. They both kept a huge part of their past from me until I forced it out. And I'm supposed to marry her in 2 months. My family loves her. My friends love her. On the surface, everything looks perfect. But underneath, I feel like I'm standing on a cracked foundation. And here's the brutal truth I haven't said out loud yet. I don't know if I can go through with this wedding. Not like this. Not with all these unanswered questions. The cliffhanger? When Jake left my apartment, he said one last thing before walking out the door. Jake, if you don't believe me, ask her about Boston. I have no idea what that means. Emily's never mentioned Boston. She's never even been to Boston, as far as I know. But I'm terrified to ask. TLDR, found out my best friend didn't just casually date my fiancée. They were together for a year, lived together, and he once thought she was the one. Now he claims she cheated on him back then, and told me to ask her about Boston. My fiancé denies it. Wedding's in 2 months. That's where I am right now. I don't know what Boston means, I don't know who to trust, and I don't know if this wedding is even happening. Part 3. He told me to ask her about Boston, and now everything is different. Hey Reddit. So here we are. I didn't think I'd actually be writing a part 3, but too many of you kept asking for an update, and honestly, I need to get this off my chest because my brain is fried. The Boston thing? Yeah. It was real. And it's worse than I imagined. After part 2, I spent days avoiding the question. Every time Emily walked into the room, I felt the word Boston clawing at my throat. I'd open my mouth to say it, then chicken out. Part of me was scared of what I'd hear. Another part of me hoped Jake was just being manipulative, maybe bitter and exaggerating the past. But then one night, we were watching TV, and she got up to grab a glass of water. And without even thinking, I said it. Me. Emily, what happened in Boston? She froze. Like froze. Glass of water half poured, shoulders tensed. Slowly, she turned and looked at me with these wide, guilty eyes. And that was the moment I knew Jake hadn't made it up. She sat down and put the glass on the table without drinking it. For a solid 30 seconds, she didn't say anything. Just stared at her hands. Finally, she whispered, "Emily, I was hoping that would never come up." My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my teeth. Me. Then tell me the truth. What happened? Emily, deep breath. When Jake and I were together, there was a work conference in Boston. I hooked up with someone there. It was a mistake. I told Jake about it, and that's when things ended. I just sat there, stunned. She admitted it. She actually cheated. She tried to justify it. Said she was young, confused, unhappy in the relationship, didn't know what she wanted. Said she immediately regretted it, confessed to Jake, and that was the nail in their coffin. Emily, I've carried that guilt with me for years. But that's not who I am anymore. That was a different me. The me who loves you would never do that. And here's the messed up part. As much as I wanted to scream, as much as I wanted to throw something, part of me actually believed her. Because the Emily I know, the one I built a life with, doesn't feel like the kind of person who'd do that. But facts are facts. She cheated. On Jake. In Boston. And then she buried it, hoping it would never surface. I asked her why she didn't tell me sooner. She said, Emily, because I knew it would ruin everything. Because I didn't want my mistake with him to poison what I have with you. I wanted a clean slate. But there is no clean slate, right? Not when the people involved are still here, orbiting each other like ghosts of the past. I didn't sleep that night. My brain just kept spinning. If she cheated once, what's to stop her from doing it again? Does the different person now argument really hold water? Or am I just fooling myself because I don't want to lose her? The next morning, I called Jake. Told him I knew about Boston. He didn't gloat. Didn't say, I told you so. He just sighed, like he was relieved the weight wasn't on him anymore. Jake, I didn't want to be the one to blow up your engagement. But you deserve the truth. I'm sorry, man. And here's where things got complicated. Because Jake also admitted something else. Jake, when I first saw you with Emily, I thought maybe it was fate's sick joke. Like the universe wanted to rub it in. But seeing you two together these last years, I actually started to believe she'd changed. That maybe she really was better with you than she ever was with me. And if she makes you happy, I want that for you. Even if it kills me. That almost broke me. Because here's my best friend, the guy who should by all rights be my enemy in this situation, telling me he wants me to be happy with the woman who broke him. So now I was faced with this. Emily admits she cheated on Jake in Boston. Jake confirms it. She swears she's changed. He thinks maybe she has. And I'm stuck in the middle, 2 months out from a wedding. The next week was hell. I went through every stage, anger, sadness, bargaining, numbness. At one point, I even drafted a text to my mom saying the wedding was off. Deleted it. Drafted it again. Deleted it again. Every time Emily smiled at me, cooked dinner for us, or leaned against me on the couch, I felt this split in my chest, half of me thinking, this is the woman I love, and half of me thinking, this is the woman who lied by omission for 3 years. Finally, I realized I couldn't live in limbo. I had to make a decision. So I told Emily we needed a serious talk. We sat at her kitchen table. I told her everything, my doubts, my anger, the way trust felt shattered. I said I didn't know if I could marry her knowing all this. She cried again. But this time, instead of just apologizing, she looked me in the eye and said something that cut through everything. Emily, if you want to walk away, I'll let you. I'll never forgive myself for losing you, but I'll understand. But please, don't throw away what we have over a version of me that doesn't exist anymore. I love you. I've only ever loved you like this. And in that moment, I had to decide, do I believe her? Or do I let the past define our future? So here's what I did. I told her the wedding is postponed. Not canceled. Postponed. I said I need time. I need to rebuild trust. I need to feel certain I'm not making the biggest mistake of my life. And to my surprise, she didn't fight me on it. She agreed. She said she'll wait as long as it takes, because proving to me that she's changed is more important than a wedding date. As for Jake, I told him he can't be my best man anymore. Not because I hate him, weirdly, I don't, but because the weight of all this history standing next to me at the altar would crush me. He said he understood. He even said, "Jake, honestly, man, maybe that's for the best. I'll always be your friend, but I don't need to be up there. Not for this." So that's where I leave you, Reddit. No neat little bow. No fairy tale ending. Just a postponed wedding, a fiancée who swears she's changed, and a best friend who lost her once and doesn't want me to lose her too. I don't know what the future looks like. Maybe Emily and I work through this, rebuild trust, and get married in a year. Maybe we don't, and this whole thing was a painful but necessary wake-up call. But at least now, finally, the truth is out. No more secrets. No more Boston hanging over my head. And weirdly, that feels like the first honest step forward we've had in a long time. TLDR, I asked Emily about Boston. She admitted she cheated on Jake years ago during a work trip, which is why they ended. She swears she's changed and begged me not to throw us away over her past. I postponed the wedding to figure things out. Jake's not my best man anymore, but he wants me to be happy. No clean ending, just the messy truth.